Are you afraid of the dark? On this channel, we are not, because today we've got the Oneleaf NV500 day-night scope, and this thing is mounted up on my Airmaks Krait, which is one of my most accurate air guns. So we're going to go ahead today and take you through the whole review of this thing. But before we do, let me just flash back to when I first opened this out of the box, give you guys a little unboxing tour of what it comes with, and then we'll take a close-up look at it. I'll show you some daytime shooting and footage of it. I'll show you some nighttime footage, and we'll test out how the ballistic calculator works. And yeah, I'll give you the whole rundown on this thing. I have just received my Oneleaf Commander NV500, and let's take a look at what's in the box here. First, as I always note, it does have very nice packaging. I am a sucker for nice packaging. Okay, cool, and right here it shows you all the different reticles you have and all the different colors. Usually these have quite a bit of features on the outside of the box. So we see it's got real 4K recording, it's got a microphone, digital zoom up to 13 times. You can put about a 256 gigabyte card in it max. It's got a rangefinder, gyroscope, e-compass, and day starry, which is like their twilight mode, and night mode. And then on the other side, we've got lens detection for whichever one of the lenses you're going to be using. Therefore, we have an interchangeable lens, got picture-in-picture, you can take photos, you've got an HD port, different ballistic profiles on it, one-shot zeroing, which is kind of par for the course for the digital scopes, and then we've got a IP67 waterproof rating. So let's see what's inside this thing. Okay, very nicely packaged, as I have grown accustomed to from Oneleaf. We've got a manual in here, little chamois cloth in the bag. Always read your manual, guys. Make sure you know what you're doing with the thing. And this one is color and very nice. So good job, Oneleaf, on that. All right, so we've got a 2-year warranty, which is a pretty generous warranty on an electronic product. Cool, so we've got, looks like the mount there. We've got a charger. We've got, okay, we've got the external optional IR flashlight right there, just like on the NV400. And it looks like this is the exact same thing that's on that. Got a nice little carry bag in there, good. Anything in that one? No, that's for an extra lens, which I don't have. Speaking of lenses, that must be this. Okay, so there's the pins for how you insert the lens, and comes with a cover on it. And just like the NV400, I can see it here. It's got the attachment for daytime shooting that sort of shields the lens from too bright of a light, but the rest of it you can just pop open, and when you're at night, you're going to run it like that. All right. We've got O-rings. We've got Allen keys and some screws for the mount. We've got a USB-C cable, and that brings us to the optic itself, which is pretty compact and small for what it is. Got the rangefinder on the side, which does have an integrated red laser in it, which is pretty cool. Pick rail on the top in case you want to mount your IR torch up there instead of on the rails of your gun. Let's just kind of see here. I imagine, yep, charge port, SD card, and your HD cable out there. And this thing just feels really nice in my hands. It's really well machined. And here is the lens system. So I'm going to read the manual, put this thing together, and then we'll do the typical review where we show the day and night performance of this thing. And here's what this thing looks like fully assembled with the mount on it and every available accessory, including the eyepiece and the sunshade. And I noticed that the mount is really nice, how it fits on there. Pretty well thought out. I like the smaller rangefinder on this one, and I'm not sure if I'll keep the IR flashlight on the provided rail or stick it on a rail on my gun, but that gives you an idea for how it looks when it's assembled. And while we're in the kitchen, we might as well chuck this thing up on the scale. 2 pounds, 11.6 ounces. Not a lightweight by any means, but not much heavier than any of the big optical scopes I use. So there's your weight for you. And next we'll go out and shoot this thing. So this thing's pretty cool. It's got, first of all, the first thing you should know about this thing is it has interchangeable lenses. So this one is the 50mm lens. It's a 2-26 and it zooms in pretty far. You can also get a, I believe it's a 70mm one that zooms in double what this is. So it's 4 to, I think, 52. And then there, I believe there's also a smaller one for less zoom. I opted for the middle one, and honestly, I want to use this kind of for ratting and stuff, so I maybe should have got the smaller lens, but this one works fine for it. You'll see. They lock in, they just twist. So that's what makes this more modular than the one down there, which we'll take a look at in comparison in a minute, which is the NV500. I previously did a review on that. But anyway, going forward here, things got illuminated buttons, as you can see, adjustable diopter, adjustable focus here. And the main thing is the integrated ballistics. So this is a rangefinder that's right on here. You can mount the included IR light on the little Picatinny rail there. And that's pretty cool. And if you notice also, you do have a red laser here that you can turn on in the menu. And it is adjustable where you can actually get it zeroed. So that's pretty much the scope. Basically, also you have your charging ports in here under an O-ringed cap. So you've got a USB-C charging port, HDMI out, and a removable SD card, which does come with the unit. And if you take a look at this thing, it's really nicely machined, and it also has a really nicely machined backwards cantilever pick rail mount that comes with it. So pretty cool. And let me just grab the other gun here so you can see the 400. All right, so as you can see here, we've got the 400 versus the 500, much more smaller form factor in the 500. I've actually got FX rings on the 400 here, but it does come with rings from the factory that have pick rails on them. So you can mount this on that pick rail, but I usually just put it up here on the NV400. So I've scrapped that feature, but you can see the 500 is a lot smaller and you get basically the same features. One other key difference with the 500 is in the unit itself, the battery is self-contained. In this one, I believe I think there's 2 internal batteries, and then I've got the long cap on here for a 18650 battery in there too. So you can see also this one's got a much bigger rangefinder, so they kind of minimized it on this one, which is nice. So I think that's a nice design feature. And with that said, let's give you guys a look at some of the footage that this thing takes, and I think you're gonna like what you see. All right, folks, so it is overcast, but still plenty light. So the plan here is I'll give you guys a look at how this optic performs in the daylight at my 10-yard pile, my 20-yard pile, and my 25-yard log pile. And then we'll look down the laneway at some various targets, as we typically do in these Are You Afraid of the Dark night vision optic reviews. We'll see how the NV500 does. And even though it's a little bit overcast, this thing performs in low light. Even when it's dusk, I can see my 150-yard target way back there with the thing. So let's check out how it does in the day, and then we'll take a look at some night footage as well. Okay, so let's give you guys a little look at some of the closer range stuff while it's light out. So this is my 10-yard log pile, and this is fully zoomed out. Keep in mind this is with the sunshade on that they recommend having in the daylight, but we can take that off maybe and look at these without it as well, see if there's a difference. But believe me, this thing can handle low light just in the regular day mode, where I'm able to look way out there when it's dark and still see my little 4-inch plate at 150. But this is how it's looking at 10 yards. I'll zoom in, and keep in mind you will have to focus this up. Just like any scope, when you're looking at stuff, it looks like I've got it in pretty good focus here. Now we're looking 10 yards away, so this is extremely close. Let me see if I can focus that a little bit better. So that's pretty good. There'd be no reason to ever keep zooming in this close at that range, but just to show you, we will. And it is dang detailed. So we can see all the individual detail. Try to focus it a little bit. Just keep in mind that you do have to kind of focus these scopes, just like any scope, when you're looking at things at different distances. So that's 10 yards. I'll zoom back out for you. Here we have our 20-yard log pile fully zoomed out. I'll see if I can focus that a little bit better for you guys. And we'll just start zooming in. And it looks like I need to refocus just a little bit as we get with the magnification. I'll focus on this log so we can see the detail on the bark there and adjust the focus a little bit, but very good image. I mean, you can see all the detail. If a mouse stuck his head out of that log right there, we would pop him. Let's zoom in more so we can see the individual age rings on that log, just to give you an idea of the clarity here. That is pretty good, man. So really excellent clarity. Next we'll zoom out a bit. We'll look over at the 25-yard pile here, which is this one right here. Let me zoom out. I found that it's zooming out, it's kind of better to go slow on the wheel. It seems like if you want to turn it too fast, it kind of doesn't go very fast. So there's the 25-yard pile. Looks like it's in pretty good focus. We'll find out when we zoom in a bit. And let's try to focus on that nub right there. We can see the detail on it. And I'll refocus just a tad bit there. Okay, very good. Can see maybe some slug holes from slugs blasting through chipmunks on that pile. That's mostly where we shoot the chipmunks. So that's looking pretty good. And it gives you a good idea of what this thing looks like in the daytime. So I could have even got the lower power lens if it was available, because I plan for this one to be using it to shoot chipmunks out of these log piles. But let me do this. I'm going to actually remove the sunshade, so I'm unscrewing it right now, and we'll see how that adjusts any of the clarity. So now we're back at 10 yards. I'll focus it up. All right, zoom in partially here, and looks really good. We'll go to 20 yards. Zoom out for you guys so you can see the whole pile. Zoom in a bit there. Give the focus a little twist, and that is a crisp, clear, nice image, man. And right there would be nice magnification level for shooting chipmunks out of there. I don't even have to zoom in too far, but maybe right there would be about perfect. So I'll go back out, and again, without the sunshade, let's look at the 25-yard pile. Looks pretty good. We'll zoom in a bit and crisp that up, and that looks good, man. This is a pretty good quality image, and this has the Sony Starvis 2 sensor in it, so very, very nice. So next what we'll do is we'll look down my laneway here, which I'll zoom out for so you guys can get a feel for that. I'm sitting by the shed. Once we look down the laneway, we'll be in the heated shooting shack, but and then we'll look at some targets out there and see what it looks like in the daytime. All right, we're sitting in my heated shooting shack with the lights off, so therefore I do not have the little sunshade on, and we're just going to take a look at some things at 25, 50, and 75 yards and show you what that looks like in the day. All right, guys, we're going to take a look at the various distances here in the daytime. That's my target. We're going to take a zeroing shot in a second. That's at 25 yards. I've got a target there at 50 and a small diamond out at 75, and then way back there I have my typical 4-inch plate. And we're going to see what these ballistics can do in the ballistics calculator here. So first we'll zoom in, make sure we're zeroed at 25. See if I can get a really crisp image for you guys by focusing a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm also looking at the gyroscope, which is a nice feature to make sure I'm level. And let's break the shot right there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, we are a little bit to the left, but I think that's going to be good enough for our purposes here. So that's at 25 yards. I'll zoom all the way out. We'll look at 50. Alright, so there's 50, and I will have to refocus, but let's go ahead and zoom in on that. Zoom into a reasonable level. I'll adjust the focus a little bit. Nice crisp image there. And what we'll do is I'll range that target. Okay, and it's going to place a crosshair for me. I don't know if it shows up on video or not. But how about this? We will try to hit that right in the center of the stand where my crosshair is a little bit below, but the green crosshair holdover that it's putting me, I'll try to hit it dead center there, just make sure we have a good ballistics here. Okay, that hit exactly where my holdover mark was. Hopefully that comes through on video. And the last one, I don't think the holdovers did. So now we're going to switch over here, and my neighbor does have some building materials out, so I do not want to shoot at this much to risk his stuff. I cannot risk damaging his stuff. That would not be very neighborly of me. But we will shoot one shot at that thing, and let me back out a little bit so I can see where my laser's at, and we'll laser that thing up. I'll go ahead and land one shot on that according to the holdover, and I'll try to hit it dead center. Wow, very dead center. Nice ballistics on this thing. Okay, so final thing. Now that we've taken a look at that, I'm going to switch to a different bag under here because we are going to reach out to the 150 yard plate. Alright, so final target is way out there. It's 150 yards. Let me zoom into it. I did craftily paint it stealthy FDE so that passersby wouldn't see it as much, and it's right there where my crosshairs are. There's a spade right there. That's not the target. The target's that plate right there. And I've got the holdover set on this scope, and it's going to be towards the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you'll see the holdover in the recording. Let's see if I can get some hits on that at 150 yards. And you do see there is some moderate wind. Target's at the bottom of my screen, right between, looks like the 4 and the 6 on my reticle, if that's coming through on camera. And I'll go ahead and shoot that. Ding! Ballistics work awesomely on this thing. And that's exactly what I would expect, because the NV500 was the same thing. And this Airmaks Krait is one of the most accurate guns I own, so it is one that I always test these optics on. So anyway, that gives you an idea of what everything looks like in the day. I'll try to get some dusk footage here and show you that, and then we'll get straight into the night footage. I just want to show you this feature real quick. So we have backlit buttons on these Oneleaf scopes, which is really, really nice. The side button does light up also to let you know if it's on or not. That's the power button. And right now you can see it's in standby mode. So one press of the power button will quickly flash it back into regular mode. And just in case you guys weren't seeing the holdover and stuff, you can kind of see it on the screen there. Maybe I'll zoom in. You can see the little green holdover mark on my reticle, so that's where it's gonna hit. And you can also change it, I think, to dialing mode, where it just adjusts the center crosshair as well. But one press on this button goes back into standby mode, save you some battery, which is a cool feature. And the backlight on these buttons is really helpful at night, and you can turn that off even if you want to save batteries. So I think that is very cool.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right, so this thing has 3 separate modes: day, starry, which is like their twilight mode, and night mode, of course. So I don't have the IR on this right now. I'm going to flip open the lens for the most light and look out there and see how dark it is. It is getting pretty dark, but you're about to be impressed because this thing can see in the dark just in day mode. So Eric, why don't you go ahead and kill the light, and then I'll switch over to this camera and we'll show them what it looks like. Okay, so this is still in day mode, and you guys just saw how bright it is outside. It is not bright. It is very dark. And with no IR or anything in day mode, this thing is still really good at, you know, kind of dusk conditions. So there's my 25-yard target. There's my 50. I can probably get that a little bit more focused up for you. And my 75 back there. And you can still see the color on the grass because I'm in day mode. And let's see if we can see and possibly hit my 150-yard target out there, which is about 30 yards behind that fence line there. So, and if I can do this, this is pretty impressive with this mode. So I'm going to try to focus that up and find my target. Alright, you see it? It's right there. That is the target. I'll try to get it in the best focus I can. Let's try to laser it. Okay, and it's coming up 100 and 49 yards. Cold bore shot. I haven't shot the gun for an hour or so. And we nailed the target on the first shot. That is at 150 yards in very dark conditions. I would not be able to see that with an optical scope, just like a standard glass scope. But since this thing has the Sony Starvis 2 in it, it's really good for low light. I would say that the low light quality, especially when you're in night mode, is better quality than the day mode, even though that's still pretty good. But you guys will be the judge because you're watching the review video here. And just because I'm addicted to shooting that thing, let's just see if we can do it again. I think at this point I'm 4 for 4. I heard it hit, but I didn't see it. We'll go again. Nailed it. So, not bad for dusk mode. Oh, and let me kick it into starry mode. So, starry mode, I don't really like this mode. It's very pink, and this is the same as on the NV500. So when I change it to starry mode, I actually can't even see it anymore. We'll try to focus a little bit, see if that changes anything. I don't think it will. I'm not sure if you're supposed to use IR with starry mode, but I don't really like it. I'll switch it into night mode here, and even in night mode, like, I can see it, but I have no IR on, so we'll wait till it gets a little bit darker here. I will then kick the IR on, we'll focus it out there, and we'll show you what this thing can really do at night, which is the whole point of you buying this scope. So, and before we do that, I just have to do this. Nailed it again. Crazy, and the ballistics works awesome. Alright, so before we do the night section here, you can see a couple little lights in the pathway there, and then what you're seeing in the distance is lights over the highway. But it is extremely very dark. So we'll get this thing rolling and look at a couple different distances here, just like we did in the day footage, and do a little bit of shooting. All right, so now we're into the meat of the video that you guys want to see, which is the night shooting. You can see a couple of lit up little floor path lights in the path. So do mind that. That is not really helping too much with this, but this sensor takes in so much light that even those little LED lights come up super bright. But this is with 0 IR on. There's my 25-yard target. We've got the 50 out there, and then my 75. I'll zoom into those separately here. Let me show you the IR light. It's focusable beam, and it has 3 settings. So that is setting 1. I've got it fully focused. Okay, so that's fully focused. We're gonna wash out the image if we fully focus it. So I'll back off all the way. That's backed off all the way. Let's zoom into that thing. That is my 25-yard target. Now, again, I'll remind you several times through this video, you do have to focus this ring up front to make sure everything's good. And that's looking pretty good, man. So if I zoom pretty far into that, I could literally zero my gun, no problem, in the dark on that target with this scope. So you see the image quality at night is really nice, especially with that IR. So that's only on setting 1. Which is what I think we'll use for the majority of this video. And by the way, I'm also recording all of the video section in this video when it's in the scope cam footage through the onboard microphone that's on the scope. So just to give you guys a quality check on that. But anyway, so that's IR setting 1. When you click the button, it'll turn it off. The next click is going to go up a setting. So that's setting 2 off, and that's setting 3. So pretty bright. I'm going to actually, let's just go mid. So back through the settings, that's 1 and that's 2. We'll leave it on the mid setting here. And let's take a look at my 50-yard target out there. All right, I will have to focus that up, and that looks pretty good. We'll range this by hitting the top button. And okay, so it's telling me 50 yards. It's putting my crosshair where it needs to be. And let me load a magazine, and we'll go ahead and do a little bit of night shooting for you guys. And in my experience, the ballistic calculator on this thing is awesome. So, you know what? We'll zoom into that. I'll see if I can get the clearest image I can at pretty high magnification at 50 for you guys. And keep in mind, if you're hunting with this thing, you're going to be able to see the eyes of your prey with it. Now, I did repaint that slightly so we can see some kind of older hits under the paint that's getting washed by the IR. But let's just see if I can hit that pretty well dead center. You might see only my crosshair and not the holdover, which is a bit above the crosshair, so let's go ahead and shoot that. Okay, so that hit pretty well right where I aimed. See if I can put another one right there. Same spot. Awesome. Alright, so now to 75 yards. I'm going to go ahead and try to get that image as crisp as I can for you guys. Let's focus the IR down there a little bit more. How about that? Okay, so we got a little bit more light. Ooh, and that's looking pretty good. Let me laser that. Alright. And you can see my hit on there from before. It was like pretty dead center. Maybe I'm washing it out a little bit with the IR. I'll turn it down a little bit. So a lot of adjustability here for getting it perfect for you guys. But let's put where my holdover is saying and shoot that. Alright. Nailed it. Dead center. Just like I did on the first shot in the daytime. So that's pretty impressive. And let me back out so you guys can see my whole laneway before we start shooting at the 150 yard target. So I just want you to get a grasp for how far that really is. And we can also look at on setting to the IR here. So I'm going to back out fully on the IR. That's totally unzoomed. And if you guys can see that fence post back there, that's 120 or so yards away. And I can just get that thing real focused. So they give you like a pretty powerful IR. Definitely do not look directly into that because you will probably go blind, even though you can't see the visible light spectrum. But let's do this. We'll zoom in a bit to the fence. I'll try to kind of focus as I go here for you guys. Alright, that's looking pretty good. We'll zoom in on the IR, get it a little bit better. So that fence is, like I said, 120 yards, and we can see that plain as day. Now what'll be tougher is finding my FDE painted target. I see it. It should be right there. Let's zoom in to that. Okay. And for this, since it's so far, let's go to IR setting 3 and see if that helps. Alright, and I can... Okay, I'm even washing it out, man. That thing is... I'm sure you can see 300 yards with that IR. It is pretty powerful. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see where my laser is. It's telling me 149.6 yards. Perfect. It gave me my holdover, which if you can see the reticle, how I have it in my scope, not sure if you can because I haven't looked at any recorded footage from this thing yet. It's right between the 4 and the 6. And it looks like it's in mil because I know that that should be about 5 mil from here. So let's see. I see it right there between the 4 and the 6. I'll put my crosshair on it. It's right there. I believe that is it. Let's see if we can score a hit. Nailed it. Hopefully you guys heard the clink of the steel. Okay, I think I'm off a little bit to the left. Could be a little bit of wind. Okay, hit it again. Let's see if I can zoom in and get a little bit better picture of that so you guys can see it. It is a little bit difficult to see, but this is a 4-inch plate at 150 yards. I think it's right there. Yep. And we are just smacking that thing like you wouldn't believe at 150 yards. Nailed it. So that's pretty good, man, to be able to see and hit that target at 150 yards in the dark. It's like right there, I think. It's kind of hard to see, but there we go. I know you saw the flash of it hitting on that time. But yeah, so that is the night performance of this thing. And you know what? Just before we stop doing this night footage, I'm so addicted to shooting that plate, and it's so crazy to be able to do it in the dead of night that I'm just gonna try to hit it again here. And we do have a gyroscope in this thing, so I can make sure I'm level. Okay, it looks like it's right about there. There it is. Anyway, that's how it looks. I'll go back to IR setting 1, which is honestly kind of really all you need. And we can just take a quick gander at these targets again. If I back out on the IR, we get a nice crisp image. 25 yards, 50 yards, and 75. Alright, we'll hit that 75 one more time. So I'm looking at my time that I'm filming, and it's at 9 minutes and 30 seconds. You can film for 10 minutes. So we'll do this quickly here. Get it nice and zeroed. And we nailed it. So if you're doing some small game hunting at night, man, this thing is pretty clutch, and I think I just showed you how exactly clutch it really is. That is a huge laneway, and I can see the whole thing. Look at these 3 shots I took during this video, 2 of them at night. Not bad at 75 yards, right? So the ballistics definitely works if you enter your data right on this unit. All right, I'm recording through my cell phone right now. I'm going to try to let you guys see this menu. So you can see the little green blip at my crosshairs down there. That is the holdover from ranging to 150 yards. This is without the IR on. Let me put the IR on. Maybe you can see. Okay, so we can still see the menu on here. It might actually be better if I have no IR for the menu, but let's just try it. You hold down the top button. And so we've got a ton of different options here. Reticle type, there's a bunch of different reticles you can have. Looks like I have a mill reticle on here. You can do shot zeroing, which I'm not going to go into it, but I'll just describe it. You basically can shoot one shot at your target, and then it'll allow you to move the red crosshair to where the shot hit and keep the white crosshair where you were aiming. So you can essentially zero in one shot, saving yourself some ammo. You got multiple different reticle colors here, so we see that. We've got that's your coordinates for which setting you have. Ballistic parameters here, we have it on A. I think there's like 5 or 6 different letters that you can store different ballistic data on. So if you're changing loads or swapping the scope between different guns, you're set there. We can switch between first focal plane and second focal plane mode. All the Gs have it on first focal plane for sure. Definitely that's the better mode. You can align your range marker with where the laser is pointing. And that's something I haven't done yet, but I should have done before this video. So I'll do that at some point. And then we have some sensitivity settings here. You've got units, whether it's in meters or yards. This is America, so we definitely have that in yards. You can adjust the screen aspect size, which is cool. And you have a bunch of different film modes here. So I was told to film in 4K 30 FPS for night, but you can go all the way up to 120 frames per second, which will let you catch projectiles in flight from air guns. Photo resolution, I have that at the highest, which is 48 megapixels. All right, movie clip time, this is just the limit on how long you can film, and I have it at the longest because I'm trying to do a review video here. I wish you could turn it on infinite, but I guess they want it to cut at some point in case you inadvertently leave it recording, which is fine. Auto record, so that's like your recoil activated. That's off because we're using an air gun. You can choose whether or not to record sound. You've got exposure settings, metering settings, brightness, contrast, saturation, so all image options there. You can adjust the increments in which the magnification adjuster is done. Red dot is actually laser. Then we have button backlight. That is a cool feature. I like having that on so you can see your buttons at night. LCD brightness, that's just the screen brightness. Picture-in-picture, you can also do with this. So you could have a zoomed-in little picture-in-picture on your screen, kind of like the DNT Thermite that I just did a review on. So that's cool. This just shows you which day, night, or starry mode you're in. Display icon, you've got display widgets, so options for that. Compass calibration, this thing has a compass in it. You'll see that if you didn't already. Gyro calibration. You can put the logo or a timestamp on the screen. Date format, you got settings for that. Clock setting, format SD card to delete everything. Version and card info, you can see your firmware and whatnot, and then reset the whole thing to a factory reset. So I know that was a mouthful, but that is all the settings. So pretty exhaustive settings list in this thing, and I'm just going to hold the top button to get rid of it. And you can see the gyroscope on the right side there. So if I cant the rifle a bit, we can see it going to -3, and obviously you want it at 0 when you shoot. And then it also has up and down. So if I cant the rifle up and down on the left gyroscope there, you'll see that moving as well. Up in the left corner, let me turn the IR off so you can maybe see it better. But up on the left corner there, you've got your compass, and it does work very well to tell you which direction you're looking. And keep in mind, now you're looking down my scope with no IR on, and we can absolutely see everything back there in night mode with no IR, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, that's kind of how the interface looks, and I hope this part was helpful for you guys. Check this out. I got a big buck on camera. and he is 102 yards away. Good thing I didn't shoot at him, because from back in the forest I thought he was a coyote, but pretty nice being able to distinguish him from here. See if I can get him in better IR. That's pretty cool. Look at how fat that guy is. That is a freezer full right there, boys. Oh my god, look at that thing. Holy crap, that's like... Look at his antlers. That is a huge buck. That is a huge buck, Eric. Turn your one leaf on and look at him. Look at that. Dude, he's like a 14 pointer or something. It looks almost atypical, his rack. He does not, I know he hears us. He doesn't care. He's a hoss, dude. That is a hoss of a deer. Oh, there he is. Now that is a big fat deer. Have you ever seen a fatter deer? Well, he hears us for sure. Damn, dude, look at that rack. Oh my god, what a doughboy. Sweet. Here's just a little footage of my 20-yard log pile, and I wish I had been filming a couple minutes ago. It was a kind of a jump scare moment, but a mouse came out, and me and Eric both shot him at the same time. Him with the NV400 and me with the NV500. But really nice quality at night with these things. I am very impressed. I saw it. Okay. Alright. You ready for a 1, 2, 3 shot?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Oh, I don't know if we got him. Yeah, he's probably done. That was awesome. Kind of hasty. I did get that on film though. So we're now done with this video, and we're sitting up at the shed. And if you take a look in the bottom corner, my battery is still like almost full, and I've had this thing on for like 4 hours. So that's pretty cool. All right, guys, so thanks for sitting through this. I know it was a long one, but if you're looking to pick up these scopes, any of the night vision scopes that I do reviews on, I'm sure you probably want a lot of content on it to see what it can really do. So these ones are pretty nice. I think I've showed you every feature it has. We've looked at different distances at night and the day, and you've seen all that it comes with. So I think you got a pretty good idea of what these can do. I've got possibly a discount code. If I do, I'll drop it in the description and comments like I always do for you guys. That helps the channel. Appreciate it. Also, if you're shopping through my Amazon links, even if you don't buy whatever's in the Amazon link and you just click in through there, do your shopping, that helps the channel. And that's how we stay unmonetized and you don't sit through commercials. But yeah, there you have it. The Oneleaf NV500. I think it's a keeper. I'm definitely keeping this thing. It is awesome. And check that one out. And if you like a more traditional scope, you can check out the NV400 that we looked at before in a previous video too. So they're both good units. And I just am impressed by Oneleaf constantly upping the ante with cool stuff that they keep coming out with. So big up to them. Thanks, Oneleaf, for making this video happen. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.